There are 3 scams that happened to me and my family over the last couple of months, and I know I'm not alone because they are happening in tourist spots and closer to home. And I have to warn you because one of these scams cost a family member a lot. Hi there, I'm Ilana from the website lifewellcruise.com. Welcome back to my channel. Now, these 3 scams are pretty nefarious, and one of them did happen to us in 2 different cruise ports of call on a recent cruise, so I did want to share that with you. But there is also another scam that is going around. You might have heard about it on the news, and unfortunately, I didn't think that anybody that I'd know would actually get caught in it, but a family member did. So I'm going to share that with you and warn you. And the third scam, if you're anything like me and you ever purchase anything on Amazon, I did not think that I would get fooled with this one, but I did. The distraction scam, or sometimes it can even be referred to as a jewelry scam. Now, this has been all over the news and social media, at least where I live, and I did research this before doing this video, and it seems like this is not only happening in cities across Canada, it's happening in cities across the US, and this can honestly happen in cruise ports of call as well. Now, this distraction scam seems to be targeting, on the most part, seniors and senior communities. Now, what happens? Well, this is why it's called a distraction scam. Usually it's a team of 2, and it could be 2 people that are in a car, or they may even ring a doorbell, or they may be walking in neighborhoods around the city. Now, this situation actually happened to my parents, so yes, they were scammed. So basically what happened is my father went out of the apartment, and then he came back a little while later. I think he was walking the dog. And when he came back, he had jewelry in his hand. And my mother said, "Why do you have jewelry in your hand?" And he said, "Oh, there was a lady and she gave me the jewelry." She and her husband were so nice. They were looking for directions, and they liked me so much that they gave me some jewelry. Now, it seems like what they did is they actually put the jewelry around his neck. So for instance, a necklace and a bracelet on his hand. And well, what do you think happened? When he was back in the apartment, my mother looked and she said, "What happened to your gold necklace? And what happened to your gold bracelet?" And unfortunately, that was no longer with him. So what they did is they actually tried jewelry on him. They said, "Let's see if this looks good on you, or I have a gift for you." They tried it on him, and then at the same time, they pocketed his actual jewelry. Now, I know this sounds like something that a lot of people wouldn't get caught up in, but unfortunately, there are many, many cases of people being tricked and truthfully scammed and robbed by these type of thefts. Now, besides what happened to my father, there are other people, and by the way, police and community groups are warning about this, that will see seniors and they will offer to give them a hug, or another trick is to give them a blessing. And basically the blessing always comes with putting hands on their hands, and that's where they take off rings or they take off bracelets. And they often, not always, but they often work in a team of 2, because in this way they can be distracting. Now, I know it sounds like it should go without saying, but remind your loved ones to say no to unsolicited hugs, touches, and even blessings. And if somebody you meet, even in a cruise port of call, says, "Oh, you look really familiar," and tries to get into your personal space, they are using that familiarity or even sometimes flattery to get close and rob you. Now, please do let me know if you've heard about this, either in your own neighborhood, in a major city, or in any of the tourist spots and cruise ports. Now, speaking of safety, we have to talk about something that's just as important as protecting our personal items, protecting your personal data. Now, this video is sponsored by Incogni, a service that automatically removes your personal information from data broker websites. Because scammers don't have to steal your info, they buy it. Now, if you've ever booked a cruise, flight, or even searched for travel deals online, your personal data is out there. And it's not just sitting around, it's being bought, sold, and passed around by data broker sites that you probably haven't even heard of. Your name, email, phone number, and even your travel patterns all being used without your permission. And with scams becoming more sophisticated, protecting your digital privacy has never been more important. Now, Incogni works by contacting those data broker sites and requesting that your personal information be removed. Now, I signed up for Incogni about 3 months ago, and every single month I receive a report that shows me the progress and the data broker sites that have already removed my data. Now, it's super easy to sign up. First, you create an account. It actually took me less than 5 minutes. Then you grant Incogni the right to act on your behalf to request removal of your data from these sites. Now, the best part is this is all done automatically. Now, signing up for an annual plan is best, as they can do this proactively every single month, even as new data broker sites emerge. Now, I do have an awesome 60% off discount code on Incogni's annual plan. I will leave my exclusive link down below in the description of this video, as well as a pinned comment. The credit card taxi scam. Now, this may have happened to other people, but it's the first time it happened to us. And it happened twice during our recent river cruise in 2 different European cities. Now, basically what happened is in Munich, and just to let you know, Uber is not necessarily popular or even available in all cities. And for Germany in particular, we did actually look this up, and the price for an Uber was significantly more expensive than what the taxi was supposed to be. So we did take a taxi. In any case, what happened when we got to our hotel is our taxi driver told us their credit card machine wasn't working. Now, I really wasn't sure if this was actually a little bit of a scam. They wanted cash instead. And what she did tell us, because at first we said we have no cash with us, and she said, oh, I'll take you to an ATM. Now, I did end up having some cash, so we just paid her in cash. But I like to have a receipt from my credit card, so I didn't absolutely love this, but we moved on until it happened to us again in Budapest. And this one was a little bit worse because, well, it did end up costing us a little bit more money. So we were in Budapest and we took a taxi and we went to the airport. And just to let you know, also in Budapest, Uber is not really a big thing. I think that they have another version, so it's called Bolt. So anyway, we did take a taxi. So we get to the airport, and what happens? Well, the taxi driver says, oh, my credit card machine is not working. Well, you know, at this point, we were already at the airport. He said, oh, I can bring you to an ATM. I'll just drive around and leave the airport. I did not want to leave the airport. At this point, he said, oh, I'll try my machine again. I really do think that this is a scam. Since that point, I actually did look it up, and it seems like it's something that's somewhat common in Budapest. And just to let you know, in Budapest, they have a different currency. It's the HUF, so I'm not sure if it's pronounced the Huff. But I only had euros with me at this point. So we were overcharged by about 5 euros, but I just wanted to get out of that taxi because, of course, I had a plane to catch. Now, I do think that there was a little bit of a lesson here. Firstly, I had looked this up, and I could have confirmed with each of the taxi drivers that their credit card machines were working in advance. So that's something that they say you should do. But the other thing, and I think at least that I did do well, is that we did have some cash on us so that we weren't stuck having a taxi driver drive us to an ATM, not knowing what would happen at that point. Now, please tell me, am I the only one who has experienced these sort of taxi scams? I do like using Uber, but I know sometimes it's just not as available, or it might not even be the best solution depending on where you are. All right, now this one happened to me at my home, but it did have something related to my cruise because I was waiting for some Amazon packages because I was purchasing some new travel gadgets, and I assume I'm not alone in that. Well, what happened was one day there was a little package left on my porch, and the package had like some metals in them in a plastic bag. Now, I just assumed that somebody dropped it off at my house and it was meant for one of my neighbors. So I just left it on my doorstep. We went about the rest of our day. By the end of the day, it was still there. And I think it was even like 2 days that we still left it out there because I figured either it belongs to a neighbor or the person who left it will realize and come back. But I was very naive because I was the victim of the Amazon switcheroo scam. So what is the Amazon switcheroo scam? Well, basically we found this out by looking at our Ring camera. We probably should have looked sooner, but when we didn't receive one of the Amazon packages that I was waiting for, my son took a look at the Ring camera and then he saw that a man actually came to our door, switched out the package that he was holding, these basically worthless metals that were in a plastic bag, and he took our Amazon package. Now, thankfully, these were relatively inexpensive items. I actually was in touch with Amazon. They refunded us, and I simply ordered more items. But I was thinking about, what if I ordered something that was a little more expensive, or even something from a company that maybe wasn't as good customer service-wise as Amazon? Now, in hindsight, we had a Ring camera, so what we should have probably done, even when we saw this package, is actually looked sooner. And it's funny because I have heard of Amazon theft before. You know, I've seen it on Facebook and that kind of thing. But I live on a fairly major street and nothing like that has ever happened in our neighborhood. And because it wasn't just plain theft, it was really switching the package. It was never something that I ever even thought of. Now, I know this video was a little bit of a personal one, but I really did want to share the real things that sometimes do happen, because I think that these are good warnings and lessons for us all. Now, I am going to leave that link to Incogni's annual plan along with that 60% off discount code. And I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do give it a big thumbs up. I really do appreciate it. And please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Bye for now, and happy cruising.